Hi guys, this is Guru from Kannada Phonetics. So I'm trying to go over the installation instructions briefly. So hope you have watched our unboxing videos. So either you might be having our CDs or you can go to the website. I'm going to screen share this screen. So hope you can see some of those things that I'm trying to do. So you can go to ka-naada.com and you should be getting a screen something like this. But on the very top you'll see blog and support. So try to click on support and you should be on this side. So all the files that's supposed to be on the CD are over here too. So primarily the language layouts have been put down here. So you can either download all or you can download the language of your choice. Alright, so you can just click on it and it will download. Now this again is for Windows, so we're going to focus on Windows installation. For the rest of them there are these other downloads. So if you click on this, it will download all the files, or if you want individually a specific language, you can just click on any one of these. Alright, so best is to download this, all the languages with this button. So you should be able to see this particular file called input languages. So somewhere on your downloads, if you were to see, you can see a file by name input or language layouts.zip. So one of those files. So try to find something like this. So depending on the versions on the website, so you might get the latest zip file. So once you double click on it, so you should be getting the unzip or any one of those packages. So I'm going to double click, so you should see something like this. So you can see all these 10 languages files, and depending on the language of choice, KD is for Kannada, BN is for Bengali, MY is for Malayalam, PA is for Gurumukhi or Punjabi, SA is for Sanskrit or Hindi, P is for Telugu, again HI is for Hindi, so GU is for Gujarati, OR is for Oriya. So we have all these languages down here. So just download the ones of your choice. And once you double click on this, so you should be able to see this folder. Double click on it and try to extract. Once it extracts, you should see this particular folder. So in this case, I downloaded Kannada KD. So in this folder, I'll see these files. Alright. So you can double click on the setup.exe. So once you double click on it, it's going to ask you, do you want to install? So you should see a sign somewhere down on your screen, the bottom of your screen. It's going to ask you for permissions. So once you click on that, and you can say install. In my case, it's already been installed. So it's just asking me, do you want to remove or repair? So I'm just going to say cancel. But in your case, you just allow the permissions to say yes. Okay. And once it's installed, so you should get a screen like this that it's been installed. Okay, rather than this, you'll see a screen that it's been installed. And once it's installed, at the bottom right of your screen, next to your language bar called English, if you click on it, you should see your installed languages. In my case, I got several, but KD or Kannada is the one that you should see. If you already have an existing Kannada from some other package, you may see a small keyboard icon next to it down here. So say for instance, in my case, I got a couple of different English. So you can see the small keyboard icons. So if you press, so in my case, to learn English, we also have Kannada English as well as US English. So in your case, for your language, if you have a different Kannada layout, you should see ka-naada Kannada, or you may see some other language Kannada also there. So depending on the language you choose. So now I'm back in Kannada, and once I'm in Kannada, so I open some application. Say in this case I open Word. Alright. So this keyboard works in any applications. So next thing you do is connect your keyboard, this keyboard, on the USB into the USB port, alright, of your computer. So you may have several ports depending on which port is free. So you can connect. And once you connect, you should see this light. It blinks 3 times, the USB light under the symbol ka-naada on the top right of your keyboard, and then it stays still. So once you know it's still, it's connected to your keyboard, to your computer. And now I'm in Word, and at the bottom right of the screen, I've chosen from English to switch to Kannada. Either you can do that or you press the language switch button. So once I press that, it iterates between the language of your choice. In my bottom of the screen, it has switched to Kannada. So once I'm in Kannada, so now I can type in Kannada. So like we told in the previous layout examples, so I want to type a specific word, right? So I say ka, and default font is Tunga, that it shows up, and these are all Unicode fonts. Please remember that this is a Unicode compatible keyboard. So I want to type Kannada, ka, and then the second cluster I have na, ta, ta, da, da, na. I press na, and then the orange button is for the Ottakshar. So I press that and then type na again. So we can have the additions of consonants using the orange button. So there's one on the left and one on the right. So to add the vowels to the consonants, so say ka, any one of the blue buttons, ka, hold the blue button, okay, with your right hand, depending on which one you're holding. So you can say ka, you keep holding the blue buttons and then press the vowels. Say to make key, I press ka and I'm holding the blue button with my right index finger. So say this time I'm holding the blue button in the second row, third column, the blue button. I'm holding it. I want to make key. So ka plus, I keep holding it and press E, key. So it's very simple. The same way you're taught for Kargunit in your school. So on the back of your keyboard is very similar instructions, and those are the instructions that you can use to do that. So for Arka Vattu, so very similar instructions provided. You press Ra and the Ottakshar button, the orange button, and then say you press Ma or Ha, you get Ha. Okay, so it's very simple. So we'll quickly go over the language switch buttons. So if I switch languages, I've got Hindi. So I'm pressing the language switch button. That's right next to the Windows icon on your keyboard at the bottom, very last row. So once I press that, it has switched. In my case, I had Hindi also installed. So if you don't have Hindi, so if you would like to install, go back to that CD or the downloaded file, that inputs file that you had, and then you should be able to see the HD folder in there, HI. So once I go into the HI folder, double click on it, I can extract it or I can install right from there. So there is a setup.exe file. So you double click on it. As you double click, it will try to install Hindi. So the same process that we did for Kannada. So once you're done with that installation and it says it installed, you should be able to see Hindi also in your icon list next to below English in your taskbar. That is the very bottom, right bottom of your screen, right near the clock and time. You should be able to see the language icon. If you don't see the language icon, we have some FAQs on how to get that in a taskbar. So please read those instructions. It's in the control panel to make sure the language bar shows up. Most of the newer machines do have it showing up, but if you have an old XP, you may want to get it enabled so it stays locked on the taskbar. So now I want to type Hindi using Kannada keyboard. So if I want to type Hindi, so I say Ha, okay, that is the second 2,3 cluster, right? Okay. So I press Ha and any one of the blue buttons. So I'm holding the blue button, the rightmost blue button, okay, on the top row, and plus I keep holding it and then I press E. Then I press the same thing. I move my fingers down to the next cluster, and with the left hand I press the blue button, with the right hand I press the button. So that's what it does. And da, ta, ta, da. I press da, and then again with my right hand I hold the blue button. Any one of those blue in that column should be fine. With the left hand I press E. Alright. So it's as simple as that to switch languages. Hope you got the concept, and all the special symbols are very easy. So if I want to get exclamation mark, I press Shift and above number 1 I have the exclamation symbol. Okay, shift is the blue button, I keep holding it. Same thing with all these special symbols above the numbers. So if you want asterisk, hold the blue button, and number 8 has the asterisk, I press that. And plus equals, so equals, if I press the button on the right side, all the special buttons in between function keys and the character keys, I get equals. If I hold shift and then press equals, I get plus. So very simple to use the shift buttons. So the other functions like to save and other things. So F12, if I press F12, the very bottom of your screen, F12, rightmost button. So if I press F12, it goes to the save button. So if I press escape, it will not save, it will go back. So most of the function keys are mapped as per your keyboard. So to save in Kannada keyboard, so Control O is for highlighting and copying. I highlight with my mouse and I say Control O, it copies, and then I want to paste it somewhere, so Control O, big O, it pastes it. So same thing with your English keyboard. Your English keyboard equally works once you switch it back to English. So make sure you switch it back to English if you want to use or save, type your passwords, etc. So very simple. So I can switch to any application and type. So here I go to one more editor called Pada. So I go to Pada and if I were to go to Pada and then I can type, so I had copied already, I'm going to try to paste it again. Okay, I pasted Hindi. So I just highlight this now, and in Pada I just say Tools, Script Converter, convert it back to Kannada. So I should get back Kannada just to check if I am right. So there you go, it's in Kannada right now. Okay, so this way you can use even these kind of tools or any tools to type. So again you can switch back. I want to type here now, I may be in English, so I may get QQ if I press ka. So make sure you switch back to go to the very bottom of your screen with your mouse or with the language switch button at the bottom of your keyboard, the word symbol, you press that and you switch it to Kannada. Now we are back into Kannada. Instead of Q I get ka. Alright. So you can use any application. You want to go to a browser, so you can go back to your browser and here you can type a different whatever you wish to type in your browser. So it will be again, make sure you switch to the language of your choice. So once you switch to the language of your choice, so it's going to type. So for most of you, this depends on what you're doing on search. If you're in Google, so depending on what you type, right? So it's going to show on which language. So I switch to Kannada, I can search things in Kannada. Right? Okay. So whatever you type, it's going to go to Google and get you. And you press enter, it's going to search. So depending on the application, you choose your language. And there is a setting, so if you move your mouse, it will change the language to any place you wish. So it's up to you whether you want to activate it or have default English in all the applications. So hope these things are clear. If you have trouble, please look into our FAQs. If the language does not show up once you install multiple languages, in some machines after you install different languages, so you may have to restart the machine. So if you had installed 5 different languages, right, so you would have to restart to see all of them in your taskbar. So of these 10 languages, so if you had installed many languages in any of these, then you would have to restart. For Tulu, we have given a font in the fonts directory. It's called Tulustri, and it's a couple of other fonts. So Tulustri is the one that we have been using recently, and you have to switch to Malayalam and then switch to the font. Once you double click on the font, it's going to install, and then you can get Tulu under Malayalam. Alright, so you have to install Malayalam, that is MY, and then choose the font. So in my case, so let me go to Word and quickly show you. So you can use for Sharda script also. So there will be a separate instruction on that. So I want to switch to Malayalam. So I'm in the bottom of my screen or with the language switch button on the keyboard. I switch to Malayalam, and now I'm in Malayalam. If I type it's in Malayalam. So if I now go change the fonts, and once I double click on Tulu Street, it would have installed these fonts on a computer. So here I am. It will be under T. Just browse all the way down, and once you click it once, it will always show up on the top. So I click on Tulu Street, and now if I say it's in Tulu Lipi. So you can also type various different languages based on the font set that you install. Say Marathi font set, so you can use that along with Devanagari keyboard. So Sharda, you can use Devanagari keyboard and type Sharda script. You have to install the Sharda fonts and some of the additional things we suggested. Hope you're successful in installing. Please don't hesitate to contact us at info at ka-naada.com if you have any questions. Thank you.